Hello and welcome to the Monday night Bundesliga show review edition. And as you can see, for the second week in a row, we've got Peter Weiss with us over from the USA. How's it going over there, Peter?
It's going well. It's a pleasure to be talking football with you for the second consecutive week. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, definitely backed by popular demand, really. Our show did really well in terms of views last week. So, yeah, we're happy to have you back again. As you can see, Rory isn't available this week because he's at a wedding today. But, yeah, we'll enjoy talking about the games that happened this week. And another brilliant weekend of football as well, wasn't it? I mean, just seems as though with the Bundesliga, every single week there's amazing games, and that's one of the things we love about the league, attacking football, goals, incident, pretty much every single match every week, really, isn't it? And this weekend was no different. But yeah, I think probably the best place to start really this weekend was probably it's got to be one of the games of the season, really, in terms of incident, hasn't it? It's got to be the game that happened over in the south of Bavaria between FC Augsburg and RB Leipzig. Obviously, the game finished 3-3. But I mean, FC Augsburg will just be wondering how they didn't win this game. Obviously they took a 3-0 lead in the match through goals from Berisha, Demirovic, and Vargas. Then obviously the big talking point in the match was that clueless red card from Iago, really, wasn't it? I mean, you can't be doing that when you're 3-0 up against a team like RB Leipzig. He got a second yellow in the space of just a minute, basically. He got the red card, and then Peter, I mean, Leipzig managed to fight back, didn't they? But what did you make of this game? And do you think Augsburg should be furious with Iago there?
That's a great question because, and I'd be interested to get your take on it as well. I mean, the lunge that Iago made at Zabaschlager, that was just completely unacceptable. I mean, it looked like he was lunging at him with a steak knife. It was very there was little contact. I mean, there was little contact, and Schlager did embellish it. So a little bit of the Italian clever play from the Leipzig's Austrian there, and that, of course, turned the match on its head. Now, Augsburg, they had done really well getting goals on set pieces. We can talk about Merkin Berisha again, who scored from the spot and set up two. As I was saying last week, I would not be disappointed at all if his name came into the German national team discussion. But they had held Leipzig to, I think it was 0.57 xG at the point of that Iago red card. No matter what, you have to keep doing your job. And Enrico Maaßen went for a 5-2-2. That was his protective setup after the red card. And unfortunately, I just don't think, I mean, there was too much focus on long balls, and there were the defensive lapses. Something like this would not have happened, perhaps, against a team other than Leipzig. We have to recall that Nkunku set-piece goal as we were entering into injury time. Only a few technical players of that talent can pull something like that off. Generally, I was writing a piece on Stefan Reuter's post-match interview after the game. He didn't seem so terribly upset. Augsburg are exceeding expectations this season. They've exceeded all of our expectations. We had very little expectations of Enrico Maaßen, this rookie trainer. And what he's done is he's built a good tactical system. The 4-4-2 in its present form now, with Ruben Vargas sending a lot of services into the box, Florian Niederlechner, Merkin Berisha, and Ahmed Demirovic all crashing in at the same time, Demirovic from the left wing. Creates a lot of offensive opportunities. And this team that has had a 4-game unbeaten streak surprised us. They hung tight with absurdly expensive squad in Leipzig. Kubek, backup keeper, not looking too good on 2 of those goals. You have some hard luck in that respect. But overall, it was a pretty good performance from them. I mean, you were impressed as well. You've, of course, been to Augsburg. You've done a match day vlog for them.
Yeah, definitely. I've been so impressed with them this season. Really, I mean, I'm going to be honest. I think when me and Rory did our pre-match predictions, like I actually said they'd finish about 13th or 14th, and I think pretty much everyone thought I was crazy. People were like, "How can this team stay up?" You know, because most people said it's a rookie manager. They've lost Grigorovic, obviously, to Freiburg, I think he got 13, 14 league goals last season. Demirovic hadn't really done very much for Freiburg, let's be honest. Like in the last 2 seasons, I think he got 5 goals combined in 2 seasons, but he's been a revelation. I just think that the way that they play, I mean, they're probably the most physical team in the Bundesliga for me. They're absolute, they really, really go in hard. You know, even in this game, 7 yellow cards in the game. And I think in the match when I saw them against Wolfsburg, it wasn't far off that as well, to be honest. Yeah.
Well, you saw the melee, right? You saw where they got 7 yellow cards dished out in, 4 minutes towards the end of the first.
That is true. Yeah, that is true. But they do get involved with a lot of those melees. Like, it seems like a weekly occurrence at the WWK arena, to be honest, nowadays. These melees, but I actually like it in a way. You know, I think Enrico Maassen, they do have quality in the side. Don't get me wrong. As you've already mentioned, Berisha has been probably their player of the season this year. He looks a real quality player, to be honest. And in a way, I'm surprised they managed to get him, because I looked at his stats from before then. He didn't do that well at Fenerbahce, but at Salzburg, he was like a real top player, you know, and he was tipped for big things. And I think they've done really well to get him. If they can get him on a permanent transfer, they're going to be laughing, really. But I mean, I think there will be bigger Bundesliga clubs will come in for him in the summer, to be honest, based on his performances so far. But it's not only the goals, it's just the all-round play. You know, he's got skill, he puts himself about, you know, he's passionate. And I just think he's a real quality player that you need in the Bundesliga, really. And I think, you know, he's I totally agree with you that if he gets called up for Germany, I don't think that'd be a bad move, to be honest with you.
We love ourselves a good Kosovar.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But I totally agree with you. I just think the Iago red card is just crazy from the Brazilian, to be honest. I just think, as I mentioned before, part of Augsburg game is to be a physical side. They like to get stuck in, so to speak. But, I mean, this is just too much, you know. Like, you can't be doing that when you're 3-0 up against a side that you know are not out of the game at 3-0 down. Even with 11 men, they weren't out of the game.
But I mean, you can't do that, period. But, I mean, let it be known and let it be emphasized that, I mean, the way that Schlager went to ground rather easily.
Yeah, that's true.
Somewhat distasteful as well. It's not something.
It is, yeah. It is. But I guess, like, it happens all over in football these days, doesn't it? But yeah, it's I just think it was crazy. And I was following the game from afar, and as soon as I saw that red card, I was thinking to myself, should I stick a tenner on a 3-3 draw here? I didn't do it. I didn't do it in the end. But I was really thinking, you know, this is possible, because I just know. Yeah, I just know what Leipzig are like. If you give them that impetus, and when I saw it go to 3-1 through Andre Silva, I was like, yeah, they're going to get a point at least out of this game. And as you mentioned, the goalkeeper didn't cover himself in much glory. And it is a pity, because I think Gikiewicz was absolutely brilliant before he got that knock, because he really was solid against the likes of Werder Bremen, Bayern Munich. He was making 5, 6, 7 good saves a game against both of them. And they need him back as soon as possible if they want to start winning games again. But as you mentioned, performance-wise, I just think they've been brilliant this season, Augsburg.
Well, they have indeed. This is a team that makes people's relegation candidates every year. And we've been doing that for over a decade now. So they continue to surprise. They continue to exceed expectations. And they may have a trainer that Stefan Reuter is not interested in firing towards the end of the season now. We'll see, though.
That's true. I really hope not. I was thinking that, because they do it every year. And even when they have a decent coach like Weinzel, I actually thought he was reasonably good. Obviously, he's at Nuremberg now as well. So
that's right. You saw him this weekend.
Exactly. I've seen him the last 2 out of the last 3 weekends. But yeah, he looks good. I did like him at Augsburg as well. But I just think it was a poor decision to fire him. But it looks like it's paying off at the moment with Enrico Maassen. He looks a good coach to me.
Well, I mean, the fact that he finished the season was a surprise to me, because, I mean, you always had, whether it was Baum or Herrlich or Martin Schmidt, the Mainz sporting director, it always seemed the case that Augsburg, they were threatened by relegation towards the end of the season. Reuter pulled the trigger on a sacking. In the case of Weinzel, I think it was more Weinzel who wanted to leave.
Yeah, it was.
Because he didn't feel as if the front office was going to get him the players necessary. Well, look at this. They've done a very nice job.
And they've probably got the best side that I can remember they've had as well, especially with the Berisha and Demirovic combination. They look real quality players in this system, as you say, and looking forward to seeing what they can do. I definitely don't think they'll get dragged into the relegation fight this season. And I just think, maybe a top half finish isn't completely out of the question either if they can start keeping a few more clean sheets, I would say.
Gikiewicz coming back will be huge. And he's also quite stuck into that Augsburg mentality. You'll recall he was not accepting the Bremen fans.
Definitely. He's a hard guy, Gikiewicz. Yeah, really. I think he did the same against Schalke as well. He was really giving it to the fans as well at the end of the game. I like that attitude, though. As long as it's all fair play, I think a bit of passion is great, to be honest.
If you feel like the people on the pitch are your family, then you're in the right place.
Yeah,
because they are.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Okay, a couple of comments in about Augsburg as well from Ben Morris. How gutted must Augsburg be with the way the game turned for them? Real shame. Can't imagine Iago is popular there at the moment. Yeah, I don't think he is, to be honest. I'd find him 2 weeks' wages personally, but maybe I'm just a bit tough.
Well, Niederlechner in his post-match interview, he sounded off on Iago. Yeah. But then he quickly tacked back and said, I forgive him, the emotions of the moment, we understand, and things like that. So the thing is that you can call out, speaking of your players on the pitch being a family, if that's still possible in this day and age of high salaries and agents and Instagram and everything like that. I thought Niederlechner he did the absolute right thing and said, he expressed his frustration, but then he pulled back and said, but I understand. He's my teammate, and things like that happen. Yeah. And Augsburg need not be so disappointed with where they are at this point in the season. They're doing well. They're doing fine. And if they can beat the drop, great. Then we got those really cool. Did you have friends in Augsburg? Did you see the T-shirts that they had at the end of last year? Level 11 completed.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. They've got a good atmosphere down there as well. Like, you don't really feel it on the TV, but when you see it live, actually Dave, the guy I went to the game as well with, saying good to see the game back. Yeah, can't believe our beloved Augsburg threw that game away. I wouldn't quite call them beloved Augsburg, but I definitely have a soft spot for them after going to the WWK arena. And as you say, they've got a real good standing crowd behind the 12,000 ultras behind the stand. It's a great atmosphere there.
I was pleasantly surprised when I went there as well. I remember thinking to myself, okay, Bavarian, Swabia, banking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Folks Festival, what's going on here? But they were really a passionate crowd, and the ultras were great, and they kept up the atmosphere throughout the entire game. When I had a chance to do that.
Definitely, and I think talking about small teams that are doing well as well, the next game I want to go on to is the Mainz versus Köln game. I mean, the Cologne fans probably won't thank me for going on too much about this game, but I mean, Mainz are another small team that are doing even better than Augsburg. I know some people would say maybe, they've got a bit more experience at the higher level, but I don't know really. I would personally say Mainz and Augsburg are a similar kind of level size clubs. But what a performance this was. I mean, they beat Köln 5-0 in the game. And to be honest, they had 2 goals disallowed as well on Friday night. It could have been a lot more as well. But, I mean, Cologne might feel as though a few decisions went against them at times, obviously, especially with the second yellow for Luca Kilian after just 28 minutes. They were already 1-0 down via a goal from the on-form Marcus Ingvartsen as well. And then by half-time, Dominic Kor and Anton Stach, 2 brilliant players, by the way, too, especially Stach. I've been so impressed with him. Obviously, as a German, Peter, can you see him getting into the German side this year?
I hope so. He was part of the Germany U21 side that won the 2021 European Championship with Stefan Kunst. And actually, Bo Svensson, who we can talk about as well, just an excellent coach and excellent tactician. Recommended Stach for the national side. He has been capped 3 times under Fleck. Yes, of course. Stach has had a wonderful season. Last week, he played an excellent game in Dominic Kor's position because Kor was back in the back 3, filling in for Alexander Hack. And he came back up to the more offensive position that Svensson had in mind for him. Svensson's back in this 3-3-2-2 that he really likes to run. And wow, I mean, we have another match. We're talking about another match here where a player got sent off.
Yeah.
Right? But, and we'll talk about another one too later with Freiburg and Bremen. But in this case, I think Mainz earned the victory before the sending off. I mean, Killian was clearly beaten by Onisiwo. Karim Onisiwo, can we talk about him? This where has this renaissance come from?
He was superb in this match.
Absolutely, he's just been incredible. And so, I mean, Mainz came to this match shot out of a cannon in front of their hometown fans, who are also great, also a great town to visit, and Jae-Sung Lee hit the post, I think, in the second.
Yeah, he did. The match had barely started.
The match had barely started. They were playing well. I would say that prior to the first goal, they were going tit for tat. But when that first goal happened, I mean, Onisiwo was incredible. Killian deserved that yellow. Onisiwo beat him again to give Killian his second yellow. So, I mean, yes, they got the man advantage and they scored the remaining 4 goals thanks to that numerical advantage. But they absolutely deserved that numerical advantage because they had simply outplayed their opponents in those opening minutes. And I've been writing a lot about it, about how Mainz are heating up. They don't have the most favorable schedule before we get to the World Cup break, so they may split the difference, maybe 2 wins, 2 losses, a draw here and there. But at the beginning of the season, having followed Bo Svensson since he took this team, since he got them, I mean, these guys were below Schalke at the
they were. I remember.
Of the 2019-20 campaign. Yeah. He orchestrated the most amazing escape in Bundesliga history.
Yeah.
And just like Urs Fischer, he has a basic tactical system that he likes to run. He doesn't like to deviate from it. And Mainz are excelling now, even though they did it again this week without Silvan Widmer, the captain.
Yeah.
Danny Da Costa played an excellent game, I thought. So great to see him back at after the Frankfurt days. And Marcus Ingvartsen and Karim Onisiwo. What do you think? Do you think we're going to see Johnny Siwo again when Johnny Burkhardt gets back from when he gets fit again? Do you think Svensson will go with that, or is he going to stick with Ingvartsen?
No, I think Ingvartsen will continue. I mean, obviously Burkhardt came on in the game as well, and he did actually put the ball in the back of the net, but it was just offside. I thought that was I was watching the game, and I thought it was a really nice moment that he was going to get his first goal of the season after injury, but it was just offside, wasn't it? And he did look good as well, actually, when he came on. But I just think Ingvartsen he's had a renaissance this season, hasn't he? Especially the last 2 or 3 games, and he gives them a bit more of a physical presence as well. I mean, Onisiwo for me is just a really good striker. He's an all-around striker. He's got the finish, he's got the power, he's got the pace. But I think Ingvartsen, he gives him that focal point up front, and I just think I do like Johnny Burkhardt, but to be honest, he wasn't having the best season before he got the injury as well. And I just think he's got to stick with the form players at the moment. Obviously, they go away to Bayern Munich next week, and I think the 2 big guys up top will probably help them to rough up the Bayern defense a little bit more than perhaps what Johnny Burkhardt would. But I hope in the long term Burkhardt does kind of reclaim his starting spot, because I think he's a great hope for the future. But I just think that Ingvartsen's got to start next week against Bayern for me.
I think you're correct. I mean, against Bayern in any case, and Jonathan Burkhardt is also a fan favorite. I mean, he's the Germany U21 captain.
Yeah,
exactly. Probably doesn't have a lot of prospects of moving up to the senior side in the way that Stach does.
Yeah,
and I think that Stach should definitely go to the World Cup. So yes, there's a lot of sympathy for a player like Burkhardt. The thing is that Onisiwo's renaissance. I wish I had the statistics in front of me, but Onisiwo's been playing for Mainz for quite some time, and he is the quiet striker. He's the one who doesn't get his name on the score sheet very often. He's back holding the ball up, doing the hard work, sometimes serving as a service striker or a short striker. To see him really come into his own this season and score the way that he has, and he brought some 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean he's going to have to let it lie the way it is, and hopefully there'll be a way back for Johnny. We'll see.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that about the number 9 on his CWO. He's actually only got 17 league goals in 122 games for Mainz, which is like about 1 goal every, 6 games roughly, which is obviously not even less, a little bit less. But this season alone, I think he's on 3 or 4 now. So he's really good going for him. As you say, he's never been a bad player, but he's never been a goal scoring forward. He's a bit like kind of old school Emil Heskey in England, really. You know, he lays the ball on for a better, a more technical, a better finishing striker. But I mean, this season, he, as you say, he was brilliant in this match. And I just think there was so many good performances there from Mainz. And as you say, they're 6th at the moment, Mainz, and they're going from strength to strength. And, you know, they're only 2 points away from the top 4. And, you know, if they can get a result at Bayern, who knows what they can do? You know, obviously it's going to be a hard game, but for me, they are the kind of side that can maybe rough Bayern up. I mean, we've seen them, they've beaten Bayern at home the last 2 seasons in a row, so we've got to see if they can do it away from home as well this time.
Absolutely. Well, their away form this year has been quite good.
Yeah, it has.
Of course, last year their home form was quite good, which is no surprise. I mean, with the Mainz Ultras there at OTB, I mean, you know, with them at their back, they can do amazing things.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Okay, a few comments coming in as well. Yeah, Mark, apologies for my friendly requests on where to go for the vlogs, but could you perhaps do Borussia Dortmund v Victoria Köln? I presume you must mean the the second team at Borussia Dortmund, because I don't think. Or do you mean FC Köln? I don't know. You'll have to clarify that one, Ballon. But I'll see what I can do for you. But I'm not sure whether I'll be able to get all the way over to Dortmund from obviously Nuremberg. It's a fair trek over there. I think Peter will back up my statement there. But yeah, VfL Bochum win at the weekend was surprising. Yeah, we're going to cover that game next. Actually, Ballon. Yeah, a few other nice comments too. Yeah, Steve Timms. Next day, I woke up and went to the club shop to. Got a ticket v Wolfsburg, I think. Drove home to the UK. Yeah, it's a great story. You can't beat German football. It's not that expensive as well, especially if you go in the standing areas. You know, you can get a ticket from anywhere between 10 to 20 euros, really, which is really good deal. Good atmosphere, you know.
You're doing great work with the blog, and my when it comes to attending German football, always, if you can, make it to the stadium early. Make it a couple hours early and meet some of the locals, see what some of the ultra groups are doing. You know, they're doing community projects, charity stuff, particularly with the Ukraine conflict. Pretty much every Bundesliga ultra group and in the lower divisions as well, we're organizing food drives, clothing drives, and things like that.
Yeah.
So these are politically active and locally and community-oriented organizations, these fan groups. Of course, we have hooliganism that can't be avoided, but it's quite the experience. So anybody who goes to a Bundesliga match, go to the stadium early and meet the locals outside.
And I agree with you. They're super friendly as well. Like obviously, even if you go, you know, they're always welcoming to people that go to the stadiums, and they're actually really impressed that you've gone out of your way to go and watch a game at their stadium as well. And they want to tell you about the club and the history. And as you mentioned about the Ultras, even in the stadium, it's fascinating just to watch the Ultras in the stadium, to be honest, because it's like, I think Dave would clarify, when me and Dave went to the Augsburg game, we'd spent a lot of the time just watching the Ultras as well, because it's fascinating, really. Because obviously in England, we don't have this culture of Ultras, you know. It's a different kind of chanting that you see in England, you know, but
sing along with them too.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, agreed. Totally appreciate it. Yeah, definitely. Especially the FC Nuremberg Ultras. Yeah. Actually, we play you guys next week as well. We play Kaiserslautern next. So
we're doing well. There was a Terrence Boyd brace this weekend, and I'm feeling good. So we'll see.
He's doing well. Yeah.
Perhaps we'll talk about that next Monday. We'll see.
Definitely. Another question in for you, Peter, as well. Adding to Ben's question, as a German football fan, who does Peter think will one day be the next Bundesliga winner that isn't Bayern? Yeah, obviously that's the question on everyone's lips, Peter. Who's going to win it other than Bayern, do you think?
Oh, Lord. Well, we're going to get to Union in a moment, and why it's probably not really possible for them to be Meister this season. Unfortunately, it does come down to money, and Dortmund are the second richest club. Eventually, they'll probably overtake. That isn't to suggest that, I mean, the way the Bundesliga was when I was growing up, Bayern was also always the richest club. But it was typically a showdown between Bayern and a team for whom everything was clicking, for whom everything was going right. That's how it was for Kaiserslautern in 1997. That's how it was in more recent times for Bremen, Stuttgart, Wolfsburg as well. I'd like to get back to those days, because the idea of Bayern Meister and Dortmund Vizemeister is just as boring as Bayern winning 10 consecutive titles. Yeah. So what team is that going to be this year that could contend? Last week I talked a little bit about Union and how they can be a top 4 side. I was a little more lukewarm on Freiburg. I will be more warm on them this week. Yeah, so those are probably Dortmund, Freiburg are the only contenders that I can see from, and okay, Leipzig as well. They have some catch-up work to do, but they'll catch up. Yeah. They'll catch up just like they did last season. So those would be the 3 that I would say could possibly contend this year at this point in the season. I reserve the right to change my mind, and it would be unexpected is what we crave in sports anyway.
Yeah, well, it's definitely not going to be Leverkusen this season anyway. But yeah, it's
something. I mean, they can catch up as well. They can catch up as well. If we were talking about this last week when Florian Wirtz gets back, it's a different team. So,
but I've got to be honest. There's one side that nobody's mentioned yet that for me could potentially be dark horses, and that's Eintracht Frankfurt. I think for them, they've proven that they can win silverware by winning the Europa League in brilliant style last year. And also, if you look at their performances, obviously they started really poorly in the first 3 games with only 1 point from 3. But I mean, since then, they've won pretty much every game, apart from that crazy game against Bochum, really, But
well, okay. Shall we talk about Eintracht?
Yeah, I think we should. Yeah, let's move on to Eintracht, and then we'll go on to Bochum. Yeah, but yeah, what a game it was! A Saturday evening game in Borussia Mönchengladbach, away from home. This was a big test really for Frankfurt. Obviously, coming into the game on the back of that 5-1 win over Leverkusen last week, and they actually won 3-1 away from home in Gladbach, and they had the game pretty much sewn up by half time. They were 3-0 ahead after a double from Lindstrom, who's been one of the players of the season, and Bimbe as well. What did you make of them? I mean, what a performance this was to be 3-0 up away from home at Gladbach at half time, Peter.
Yes, we some more rehashing here, and we have to praise that attacking triumvirate of Randall Colomani, Mario Götze, who is in fine form, particularly when it comes to spatial interpretation and string pulling. Jesper Lindstrom. So you have this incredible attacking trident. You have some excellent tactical moves by Oliver Glasner, who moved Daichi Kamada back to the 6 to pair with Gibraltar. You have this new back 5, which features Ibimbe as the right wing back and Christopher Lenz as the left wing back. This was made to compensate for Makoto Hasebe's injuries. So yes, Glasner is an excellent trainer. He's an excellent coach. He was at Wolfsburg. He got off to a slow start last season, but eventually found the tactics that he needed. And he did so again this season after losing Filip Kostic, which is no small feat at all.
Yeah, definitely.
So he's done an excellent job of putting that together. That being said, Gladbach, they are a soft opponent at this point. I think they really miss Ko Itakura, and the back 4 hasn't been the same since the Japanese international has gone out injured. That back 4 was a bit of a mess, and as talented as Lindstrom and Muani and Götze are, the Foles made it pretty easy for them. And when it comes to Frankfurt, I love going to Frankfurt and watching matches and dealing with the ultras there. The ultras, of course, call their club the Launische Diva, the moody diva, because we're always going up into fighting relegation, things like this. And there was, of course, that infamous time they blew the title on the final day.
Typical Frankfurt at that time.
Precisely. We'll see. It's a good team. They've got a great trainer. They've got a heavy workload this year as well, and quite the burden on their shoulders as the historic 5th Champions League representative. I like your pick, though. I really like the fact that you brought them up. I like the fact that you gave them the respect that they deserve, because I guess with all of these years of sort of mercurial results, it went out of my brain. So thank you very much for bringing them up.
Yeah.
Our German Adlers from the Rheinland metropolis, they're a great team to watch. They've got some real talent, great coach, and they're doing us proud as the first people to win there. Look, they're Germany's team. Okay, not since the Schalke Eurofighter squad had a German team the Europa League. So a lot of sympathy for Frankfurt and the Bundesrepublik. A lot of neutrals backing them, and that would be fantastic if they could win, if they could capture the title this season. We could see the president once again, just like he was at the Pokal victory, proclaiming that right there on the Roma band, it's like, this is better than the best sex ever.
Yeah.
Campaign. So I mean, yes, we would love that. Germans would absolutely love that if they did.
I think the kind of side you just can't help but like, really, Eintracht Frankfurt, and even Glasner's got that character about him, and I just think they captured the nation and also Europe's imagination with that Europa Pokal run last year, obviously beating Rangers. I personally was glad they beat Rangers in the final, I'll be honest with you. I'm not sure what some of our watchers are thinking, but I think beating Barcelona, West Ham as well, I mean, what an effort that was.
We talk a lot about we've been talking about the Bundesliga fan scene. We're so very proud of our Eintracht Ultras for dressing all in white and going on a crusade to the Camp Nou, invading the stadium, making it so that. But those are our Ultras. Those are our Ultras. They went to Barcelona and they said, you know what? You may not care about this match because your team's in the Europa League, but this is the match of my life. Please sell me your ticket. And the Camp Nou was the Waldstadion, and thank you very much, SKA Ultras.
Incredible. What was it, 35,000 Frankfurt fans in the Nou Camp? I don't think there's ever been more away fans in a stadium in history before. Well, it's just incredible.
Barca fans the Culés are no longer allowed to sell their tickets.
It's changed the culture completely. It's incredible. But obviously for Barca, I mean, for them it was like obviously they want to be in the Champions League, but for Frankfurt this was massive. And then also they took a massive crowd to London as well for the semi-final against West Ham, which they also won. It was incredible. I mean, West Ham were a good team last season as well, and everyone thought they would. Everyone in England thought they'd turn Frankfurt over relatively comfortably, but once again, Frankfurt shocked everyone really with that. So, but moving on to another team that obviously are going for the title as well this year. Well, I say going for the title, I think they'd just be happy to be even close to the title race in reality, but that is FC Union Berlin. Obviously suffering a massive setback really this weekend, didn't they? I mean, the first major setback of the season, obviously it is the second defeat, coupled with that defeat, I think about a month ago against Eintracht Frankfurt actually as well, away from home. But I mean, this was a game obviously against Bochum, who only had 4 points from the 10 games before this match. Well, they're now on 7 points from 11 games because they won 2-1 in the game. Obviously going 2-0 ahead too via a Philipp Hoffmann strike just before halftime. Then the Bochum Messi Gerrit Holtmann with the second as well. I think I heard it on a
man.
Exactly. What a player, Gerrit Holtmann. He's a man for the kind of hardcore followers, isn't he, really? But he made it 2-0 before a very, very late Milos Pantovic consolation, but it was too little too late for Union. Yeah, exactly. They signed him on a free from Bochum, but it was too little too late for the away side. But what did you make of this game tactically, Peter? Do you think it was a very good job done by Bochum, or was it just a poor performance by the away side?
It was an excellent job by Bochum. They fought, Sturger and Losilla fought really, really hard for those midfield balls. This match, it wasn't the greatest in terms of entertainment value. We'll be honest. I mean, it was kind of it was a little floppy and a little choppy at times. But if you focused on the midfield goals and you focused on how hard Bochum's captain Anthony Losilla and also Sturger, who arrived back at Bochum this offseason from Mainz, worked in breaking up Union play, they absolutely deserve this victory. You can beat Union at their own game. It's not the hardest tactic. You just have to you have to break up their play, and you have to make sure that the midfield axis, the third axis, can't connect with Geraldo Becker. because Jordan's just a target striker. I mean, he holds the ball up well and he drops deep on occasion. But Becker is the one who moves all around and makes things happen there. So Jordan had, I don't know, how many touches? I mean, I've been scouting it. Obviously, I got to scout it for the column tomorrow, and I'm halfway through the match counting his touches. He had like 6 touches in the first half. They took them completely out of the game.
Yeah.
And, it was a spirited performance by Bochum in front of their hometown fans there on the Kastelstrasse. And, okay, one thing I should mention, Audits, that foul that he got a yellow for.
Oh, yeah, that was dirty. Yeah,
he could have been sent off for that. Okay, yeah. So we could be talking, if things had gone just a little bit differently, if we had had a different interpretation, we could be talking about another game in which a player was sent off early and shorthanded. So there was a little bit of luck there. There was. But Union, if you disrupt their build-up, let's also point out that they're not a build-up play team so much. They are a team that absorbs pressure and plays for the counter, and they have the speed to do so. So if you get in their head and if you get in their way with what little build-up play that they do execute, then they're sitting back. They don't want the ball. They're not confident that they can get the ball, particularly in those midfield duels, and you can beat them. So that's your basic blueprint for beating Union. And I still think that they're a top 4 side. I still think that on any given day, with the right start, they can impose their brand of football. But a championship season, I mean, let's be realistic. I mean,
I think to go and win away from home, it's a lot harder. And I think in front of the home fans, I mean, it's a real, like the Stadion in der Alte Forsterei is a really, really hard place to go, But I just think away from home, can they get enough wins and points? And just recently, I think early on in the season they were doing that, but I think they've lost 2 of the last 3 away games now. So, and this obviously is a massive blow, really. Obviously, if you look at Bayern Munich, they won 7-0 away in Bochum, and now Union have been turned over there, So
well, Bochum also beat Bayern last season.
They did, true. Yeah. Under Thomas, obviously under Rice, and then since they fired him this season, they've actually looked a little bit better, haven't they? Can they stay up, Peter? Do you think? Can they stay in the top league, or?
I wasn't a fan of the Rice firing. I thought that it was all done because of media pressure and this, that, and the other. Of course, Bochum have a new sporting director in Patrick Fabian because Shinzi Lörtz, my good God, it was even for a German that's a tough now. Left. So I wasn't a big fan of the sacking. As the Germans sometimes say, a new broom sweeps well. Under Lech, they've been able to press the reset button. It was my opinion in the preseason. I liked Bochum's preparation campaign. I liked some of the targeted moves that they made in bringing in journeymen, particularly, 2 players who had a great match in this, Kevin Stöger and Philipp Förster, from Mainz and from Stuttgart. I thought, and I wrote about this too, I think that Bochum, they didn't just beat Union at their own game on this day. They beat Union with the right targeted journeyman that they got for their second season in the top flight. Whether they can stay up is a matter of the field is so strong. Yeah. Okay, you don't have a Fürth this year. You don't have a Bielefeld. You have probably, in my opinion, you have a pretty consistent doormat in Schalke now. But
you're not far from wrong, to be honest. Yeah,
what are you going to wipe your feet on? That's
Yeah, definitely. Let's quickly move on to them as well, because obviously we've still got a few more games to go. We'll do the other games a little bit faster. Yeah. But I think this was my big tip for the weekend, really. I really fancied Hertha Berlin to turn that doormat Schalke over, and they did. So they didn't make it easy, as they never really do, Hertha BSC. Let's be honest, I mean, I thought they'd win 2 or 3-0 in truth, but they only won 2-1. And, they were 1-0 ahead through Lucas Toussaint, who's been one of their best players, if not their best player this season. And then, after dominating most of the game, they were pulled back after 85 minutes through Florent Mollet, equaliser. But it was that man, I think you mentioned him last week, didn't you? Kanga. He got the winner just a few minutes later, to the delight of the Olympiastadion crowd. What do you make of this one, Peter?
Well, thank goodness he's finally got his goal.
Yeah.
It took him long enough, but he's off the mark now. He's broken his duck. It was a 4-4-2 from Schwarz that had plenty of issues. I didn't think that Suat Serdar looked very good as Toussaint's partner. Toussaint was amazing. Plattenhardt also didn't have a particularly good game. That's, of course, the one that Schwarz chose to wear the captain's armband. I think he should have chosen Toussaint, but I guess he gave the armband to Plattenhardt because it was his set-piece prowess that kept Hertha from getting relegated last season. So a little something like that. Ijuke, not a good game from him. He was pulled at the half for Marco Richter. And then, of course, should we mention Alexander Schwolo?
Oh, God.
Making that howler against his parent club.
Yeah,
so
the less said, the better, really.
Yeah, precisely. I still believe that Hertha on the upward trend. Something I didn't mention last week was the February promise. That's when we Germans phone up our friends in Berlin and tell them in February that it's going to be okay. You're not relegated yet. So it's not February yet. It's October. I can't make any promises yet. But I think this is a side on the uptick. Kanga scoring is huge. Jovetic, if he can stay healthy, played really well as a service striker. I thought he did. And, I'm not the greatest Dodi Lukebakio fan, but I think he played well. I think he did well. And so did everybody's favorite Englishman, John Joe Kennedy.
Yeah, exactly.
As well. So they're on the uptick. Schalke are just terrible. They're awful.
I really didn't think they were going to be so bad. I thought they'd improved this year, but they've just been after a decent start the first 3-4 games, they've just been abject really since then. And to be honest, this wasn't Hertha's best performance of the season for me. For me, they played better than this and drawn or lost, to be honest. And I just think, they'll probably feel as though they've got away with one after Schalke equalising so late. But they just look like they've got no plan at all, Schalke. And, they need to get a real quality manager in and fast, to be honest. Otherwise, they've got big problems.
Reuven Schröder, who used to be he was the one who was sacked at Mainz the year of Mainz's great escape. What he did, what was so interesting at the beginning or in the preseason was that, okay, you had two teams that were relegated in 2020-21 campaign, Schalke and Bremen, that immediately got back promoted. But the strategies were completely different. Frank Baumann at Bremen, he kept most of the core of the team in place, got some targeted acquisitions. He was actually made fun of for not getting acquisitions fast enough. He ditched his coach when the time came, brought in Uli Werner, who was absolutely the right appointment. But what Reuven Schröder did with Schalke is he cast everyone out. I mean, pretty much everyone who was in the top flight that year was loaned out, and he built an entirely new team. And then what does Schröder do when he goes to the top flight here? He does it again. He says, I'm going to bring in another new team. Yeah. So this is not the team that won the Zweite Bundesliga last year. It's not.
Yeah.
There are, so many new faces and so many new components. And I'm, again, disappointed. I mean, Tom Kraus and Alex Kral, these are supposed to be, good acquisitions. They can't seem to figure out a midfield role or partnership for them. Granted, he's had horrible luck with injuries in central defense, Schröder and the Schalke front office have had. But, it's just, the new talent that they brought in, they don't know what their roles are, and they're not clicking. I thought Marius Bülter played a good game, and even on that disallowed goal. Other than that, there just wasn't anything positive to take from Schalke's performance at all, as far as I think.
I mean, even initially, the appointment of Frank Kramer at the start of the season wasn't really inspiring at all after his period at Bielefeld. I think they lost like the last 8 games under him, I think, before he was obviously fired just before the end of the season. I just think I couldn't believe it when I saw that he'd been brought in. I had to double check my screen. Like, really? They really went for him?
Yeah,
I couldn't believe it, really. But
his tactics are about as, for me, and I followed a lot of Bielefeld last season. They're as frustrating as that flavor saver. He always that dirt on his chin that'll never shave off. Mustache for his
He's just that kind of guy, isn't he?
soul patch. I don't. God, that annoys me, and so does his.
Yeah. But I think probably annoys the team's fans that he's managed as well. Let's be honest. With all due respect to Frank. Let's be honest, but let's hope that. I actually hope that Schalke do manage to stay up, because they're a club that the Bundesliga needs. I do think it's been good to see them back, full stadium every week, 40, 50,000 on every single week. But I mean, it's just not good enough what they've been doing on the pitch like the last 2 months, has it? And if they continue in this form, they're going to finish rock bottom, as you say.
Well, I don't think they have 4 fixtures. I don't see them getting a single point out of the 4 fixtures that we have left, and that's going to leave them in worse form than they were during that horrible relegation campaign. The year of the Wagner, Manuel Baum, Christian Gross monstrosity. That was just one of the worst German football teams ever. I don't think they get a point before the World Cup break, and you need a thesis. You need a thesis in football. That's what I'm looking for when I'm on the overhead tactical cam. When it doesn't fall down from the sky like it did in Frankfurt. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a thesis. Do you have a plan?
Yeah.
Is this shape holding?
Not at all. Nothing. But I agree. If you look at the next 4 games that Peter was talking about, they got Freiburg at home. You can't see them getting anything out of that, let's be honest. And then they got Bremen away from home. Bremen are going to target that game as like a must-win, so they're going to be all guns firing. They've looked a lot better than Schalke. Then they've got obviously Mainz at home, which is going to be hard because we've already mentioned that Mainz are having a really good season. And then they've got the dreaded FC Bayern Munich visiting the game before the World Cup as well.
They're not going to get a point.
I think maximum 1-2 points, maximum, but that would probably be a good return, let's be honest, in those games. Anyway, let's keep going. We'll go through the last few games a little bit quicker. So, obviously, good weekend for Dortmund, thrashing VfB Stuttgart 5-0. I think we mentioned last week that Stuttgart haven't been battered this season, but lo and behold, the commentators curse. They get absolutely thrashed in this game, 5-0. But I think it's that man, the Englishman, England's World Cup hope, Jude Bellingham, who was the man of the match, really, wasn't he?
Well, basically, we can go through this game quite quickly because it wasn't a football match. Jude Bellingham grabbed this game by the scuff of the neck, and with a little help from Niklas Süle, doing great at right back, where Hansi Flick first tried him out. Maybe he'll be interested in doing that in the World Cup. This game was over before it really even began, and Terzic's tactics just don't matter. I mean, he had Brandt, Reina, Mukoko, everybody was able to excel once Bellingham got them that early lead. So, yes, the Birmingham boy is just a damn good footballer. He'll be a legend for years to come. And he took this game over and just, said, you know what, it's done. So that's all we have to take from that game.
And interested to get your take as well, obviously, as a German living in the States. Do you think that Bellingham should start for England at the World Cup? Do you think he's better than our other options? Or
remind me who he's competing with. Because
so Declan Rice, Calvin Phillips, potentially Jordan Henderson, but I think he's in a bit of trouble at the moment, apparently. Probably those 4 mostly, I would say. Yes,
the last time I watched the match between Germany and England during the most recent international break, but in the Euros he wasn't, in the 2021 Euros he wasn't starting, and I think I was with Southgate on that one. I think that Declan Rice was probably the better choice. Now it's different. It's 2 years later. We'll see. But probably because he's just an incredible phenom. Maybe they wait. And he's bad news for Dortmund fans. There's no way that they can keep him. He'll be in the Premiership next year.
I think Liverpool and even City are already linked, and I agree. I think given the way he played against City in the Champions League too, I think City fans are already probably hoping he goes their way. I think we've got a few. Paul, I know, is in the chat. Well, what would you think about Bellingham joining City, Paul? Would you like to see him there, or do you think he's better suited to other Premier League clubs? But let us know what you think if you're still watching. So let's just quickly move on to the next one. So it's obviously Freiburg back on the victory trail as well. but obviously helped out massively by Marco Friedel's red card after just 14 minutes in the Europa Park Stadion. But yeah, it took Freiburg a bit of time to break Werder down. Werder defended really well for 56 minutes really in this game before finally being broken down by Lucas Kudler's goal. And then obviously that man, Captain Fantastic, Vincenzo Grifo, got the second goal. And he also got me 36 points in my fantasy football team. So thanks, Vincenzo. But yeah, what did you make of this one? First of all, was the red card the correct decision, do you think?
I believe it was. Gregoric admitted in his post-match interview while he was expressing some sympathy for Friedel that he did go to ground, but he said he felt like he had to because he had a clear path at the net. There's some slight controversy because Almos Pieper was tracking back and he might have been able to cover in time, but I think that match official Bastian Dankert made the right call. And I think this was an incredible football match. I used it as my focus section in this week's column. And I just enjoyed this football match immensely. We're talking about our third match where a team had to play with a player down.
Yeah.
Ole Werner's Bremen, they really, the way, and mind you, Lee Buchanan, Ilya Gruev, they had so many young and inexperienced players plugging the gap against what was really just the Freiburg side. Christian Schleich's Freiburg, he finally did some rotations. Schleich caught some flack for not making any changes 6 games in a row over the course of 3 weeks during these what we call the Englische Woche, the English weeks.
Yeah.
But he made some rotations in the Pokal, and many of the players, including Gregoric, including Keitel and Sedilia, who just played an incredible game, this young French wingback, they put on a real show. Granted, they were a man up, and as we got to the half, they still hadn't scored. But just the passing, the bow arcs, the triangulations outside the box between, Grifo, Günther, Höfler, Chiara, Ginter and Kübler, and also Lienhardt were joining the play a lot as well. I mean, they could afford to man up. But if anybody has access to the tape, I highly recommend, and you're looking for something to put on the screen while you're getting ready for bed this evening. Just a football match that will hypnotize you, I think, with the incredible way in which Freiburg worked their approach play and the heroic and disciplined defending of guys like Anthony Jung, Ilya Gruev, and Lee Buchanan as well, who eventually made their mistakes. They got stretched out, they got tired. Gruev nearly gifted Gregoric a goal. But these guys were filling in because Werder has a lot of injuries at this point. Christian Groß, not the former Schalke manager, but the Bundesliga veteran who serves as their bolt-lock sweeper, he was out. Leonardo Bittencourt is out. Dux was a little rusty after suspension and things like this. I think just 2 great teams, 2 great coaches, wonderful tactics. And as I said, man, if anybody's got access to the tape and just looking for a football match to relax with over the course of the week, definitely just watch how the Freiburg passing goes. It was sublime. Absolutely
incredible. Some of the football they play these days, and as you mentioned, that was with a kind of reserved, a kind of rotated team as well. But I think a lot of people don't realize how much depth Freiburg have got within the ranks as well. A lot of people think it's just one of those teams, it's just 11 players and that's it. But they do have some quality to bring in, as you mentioned. Sildilia, who's been really good when he's come on this season. Keitel looks decent. Even Chiera looks quite good as well. The signing from St. Pauli in the summer. He was quite impressed with him when he's played as well.
Absolutely. And, they're going to – Maximilian Eggestein didn't start in this one.
Yeah.
Lucas Herta is coming back from injury. You have the Bundesliga's all-time greatest joker, a.k.a. super sub Niels Petersen. I really, really liked what I saw from Freiburg this weekend. I reversed course from last week and say Freiburg had a good chance.
Yeah, I think it was like light years apart this week, wasn't it, in performances between Freiburg and Union. It's the question that everyone's been asking this year, like, is it going to be Freiburg or Union who finishes high? But I think we all said Union last year, but I think this week we're all going to be saying Freiburg, so it's one of them. It kind of changes with the week, really. But for me, I think that Freiburg play more attractive football, definitely. I think they play a nicer game to watch than Union. Union are very disciplined, and as you mentioned, they keep it very wide in the midfield. But I think for me, the Freiburg are more of a flair team, with the likes of Kevin Schade, obviously Grifo, who's the ultimate showman really in the Bundesliga, isn't he?
Oh, congratulations to him, by the way, for passing Luca Toni on fourth on the all-time list of Bundesliga Italian goal scorers. He did the ear screw celebration.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, well, we love Vincenzo Grifo is technically an Italian international, but he's from Pforzheim.
Yeah, yeah. I couldn't believe it when I saw as well that he was in the Italian squad, because I always knew him as like a German, Italian German, so to speak, or whichever way you look at it. But yeah, obviously, I think Germany could have missed a trick there, because he's the kind of player that can turn a game, and his set plays are arguably the best in the Bundesliga.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. He didn't have the greatest day on set plays this day, but he's good for at least 4 or 5 direct free kicks a season.
Yeah, definitely.
And we like him, and I like Pforzheim too.
Yeah. I've never been there yet, but maybe I should pay a visit.
Hopefully they'll put up the public viewing stand for the World Cup.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, a couple more games to cover. I think the first one, obviously, the 2-0 win for Bayern Munich. I wanted to leave them towards the end just because I could, really, But to be honest, I had quite big hopes for Hoffenheim in this match, that they could at least take a point off Bayern. But I think they were quite comfortably beaten in the end, really. And I think the big question was, will Choupo-Moting start, for this game? And once again, he did, didn't he? And he proves, obviously, Julian Nagelsmann's trust is very, very high in him at the moment. He got another goal, another solid performance. Is this going to continue, Peter, with Choupo-Moting starting, or is it going to change?
He did some excellent. He was the one who held the ball up and initiated that give and go with Gnabry on his goal. He's more than just a target 9 striker. He's very good. You picked a good match to lead to the end, because Hoffenheim Bayern was pretty much no contest. I mean, the second half, Hoffenheim didn't even really look like a football team. Bayern missed a lot of chances. This one could have been a lot worse. Not a bad player on the pitch. Probably the only one that I had some issues with was Musiala, who ironically scored a goal, and he made some questionable passing decisions. But other than that, Bayern just steamrolled over Julian Nagelsmann's old club, where he used to wear all the goofy outfits. Well, he wore the goofy outfits for Leipzig too. But
he's got a bit more stylish over the years, I think.
Now he's serious.
But definitely a big win for them, though. They're starting to pick up some momentum now. Obviously, I think it's 10 points in the last 4 games since the international break, but looking a little bit ominous, because they've been beating some good teams as well during that time, haven't they? Obviously beating Freiburg, Hoffenheim, who were on really good form before this match, but they just didn't show up. I don't know what was wrong with them for this
game. They were defeated so thoroughly, and Rutea had those couple of chances in the first half, and that was it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And the final game was only the second draw. Obviously, we've already mentioned Augsburg, Leipzig. We started with a draw and we'll finish with a draw, but it was not a bad draw at all. Obviously between Leverkusen and Wolfsburg. But I think for both these sides, I guess a draw kind of typifies their seasons, doesn't it? Because both of them have really good squads on paper. Right? I'd say top 6, top 7 squads, but they're just not doing it on the pitch. I think Wolfsburg have been the better of the two sides overall in the season, but they just can't get enough wins to kind of push them up the table. They're drawing too many games and giving away leads in the second half and things. But
so since we don't have enough time or much time, I would say that Leverkusen probably were the better side. They had some bad luck. Another missed penalty with Lord from Diaby. The penalty that Arnold was able to convert was pretty soft. Xabi's late match tactics were really good. I don't have time to go into detail to them now, but I like what he did there. Patrick Schick was out. Lotzek, did a good job. And so did all of the Leverkusen subs. Timothy Fosu-Mensah, Daly Sink-Graven out of nowhere, and, and Callum Hudson-Odoi. I think Leverkusen, they did well. They should have won the game. It's a tough Wolfsburg defense with Maximilian Arnold in that back 5. He's a very good sweeper. So, just a little bit of hard luck for Leverkusen in that one. I think that they're on the uptick. They're not going to be in the relegation race this year.
I would imagine no, but unless they can start winning games soon, it's going to be a long season for sure. Anyway, yeah, that rounds up our 9 games. So yeah, I mean, thanks a lot again to Peter. It's always great to have you on the show.
Hey man, an absolute privilege. I'm here covering the Bundesliga in the States. To be able to spend an hour with you, this is amazing.
Yeah,
a lot of fans where I'm at.
Yeah, next time we can talk a little bit more about the Bundesliga popularity in the States as well, if you want to. Yeah, but I think obviously for now we've got a bit of we've got to move on. Yeah, but yeah, if you enjoyed what you saw, then check out our Twitter at @OverTheBarFB and @OverTheBarExtra. Also, the main site, which is otbfootball.net. Remember, we're not only a Bundesliga site as well. We've also got the Football League show as well, which comes on, I think, Wednesdays nowadays. So they review and predict games over the last week in the English Football League as well. So the Championship League 1 and League 2. And then, yeah, also remember to like, comment, subscribe as well, because it helps us to keep increasing. And remember as well, tomorrow, the latest vlog as well, my vlog of the game, FC Nuremberg versus Hannover 96 will be going live. So, yeah, check that out at 8 o'clock UK time, 9 o'clock Central European time. I don't know what time US time. Do you want to tell us what time is it US time, Peter?
It is currently 3 o'clock in the afternoon.
Great. So yeah, thanks a lot again, guys, and we'll see you again on Thursday. Bye-bye. Ciao.